Hey guys, it's Caleb from ROKBLOKZ. Today in the shop we got a 2020 General XP. We're going to show you how to install our mud flap Fender extensions. So let's get right into it. The tools needed for this install are going to be a drill with a 5/16 bit and an 1/8 inch bit, a 10mm, a 4mm Allen key, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a marker to mark with. Alright, so here we have the front laid out. You're going to get your main front flap and the lower detachable section. So the hardware you're going to get is 5 dress washers, 4 number 14 countersunks, a M6 countersunk, 3 number 14 1-inch screws, a J bracket, a lock nut, a small washer, a couple of nylon inserts, 2 1/2-inch thumb screws, a single 1-inch thumb screw, 2 flange nuts, and an M6 clip. So before we begin on the vehicle, we're going to take our lower flap and flip it so that the logo is face down. Then we're going to go ahead and press in our flange nuts into the hex-shaped holes on the exterior of the flap. Alright, with those installed now, we're good to begin mounting on the car. How we're going to start, we're going to pick up the main body, and you'll see it has the bend lines in it. We're just going to go ahead and put a little bend in each of those. Now we'll take that and we're going to take our Sharpie. Now that we've got the bends in our flap, we'll take it and we're going to hold it up to the fender. What you'll want to do is set it so that the inside hooks on the inside of the fender there, and then we're going to push it up against here, aligning the bends with the factory bends in the OEM fender. And so we'll align that. It'll set up along the ridge here. And with that in place, we'll take our Sharpie. Alright, there we go. We have our main holes, and so we'll start with those. We're going to drill them out with the 1/8 inch drill bit, just as pilot holes for the screws. These screws will just be going directly into the plastic here, so we don't want to make the holes too big.
She ain't mine, but she look fine. Gonna take some time, gonna make her mine.
You want to be as accurate as you can be, but there is some play in the holes. Now with that, we can go ahead, take our 1-inch countersunk screws and some dress washers, and go ahead and start mounting. So now all I'm doing is putting the screws through a dress washer, just to get them all ready. Put this back in place, and we'll just get this first one started here.
I'm the man, I got the plan. When it hits the fan, do all I can.
We're not going to snug them down quite yet. I'm just going to get them easily started. You'll want to do this by hand. If you're using a power tool, you'll want to make sure that it is on the absolute lowest setting so you don't rip through the plastic and strip out your hole.
All I can.
Alright, with that held in place, we're going to take our J bracket and we're going to hold it and align the long arm with the hole up to the flap. And then we'll hold the flap flat against the surface there. Take our Sharpie and we'll just go ahead and mark the center of the small arm. Like so. Now we can take our 1/8 inch drill bit. We'll lift the flap up and out of the way a bit. Drill our hole. Grab our bracket again. Grab one of the 1-inch number 14 screws. And then we're going to mount our bracket into that hole we just made.
She drives me wild.
As soon as you get close to tightening it, you'll want to spin it up nice and tight. Now we're going to take our M6 countersunk bolt with a dress washer, put that down through the top of our flap into the bracket. Take our small washer and our lock nut, and we'll put that on the bottom side. Now we're going to tighten this all the way down. As you're tightening, you can slide it up, close the gap up along the fender there. Go ahead, tighten that, and then we're just going to chase that all the way down. So we'll align it into position, secure our screw, working our way to number 3 here. On to number 4. And lastly, number 5. Now with that like that, you'll want to have your wheel turned so that you can gain access to the inner fender with the drill. We're going to go ahead, swap out our drill, put on the 5/16 drill bit. Now we're going to take our flap, hold it in place, and align it just along here. Not so that it's up inside the fender, but just right after the curve of this line. Put it right there, hold it in place, and we're just going to match drill the last 3 holes. Dust the plastic off. Now we'll go ahead, we'll take our 2 large inserts, press those into holes 6 and 7. Then we're going to take our metal clip, and that's going to go behind this hole onto the OEM plastic back here with the extruded side on the inside. So we'll slide that up and on and align the hole. Alright, now that we've pressed in the inserts and we have our clip on the lower hole, we'll take our 1-inch screws and put them into the inserts here. And we're just going to tighten those all the way down. Alright, so now we're going to take our 1-inch thumb screw, put it through the lower flap, put it through the main hole here. Now we'll go ahead and tighten that up, leaving it just a little bit loose, and now we're going to adjust our exterior edges and take our 1/2-inch thumb screws, and those are going to come in from the opposite direction. Go ahead and secure that one, and line the holes up, secure that one. The quick detach feature we added is so that you can remove this lower when you come up to obstacles that you don't really want to mash it up against over big rocks, things like that. But when you're playing in the mud, these are fine to stay on.
I don't care, it's a double dare. I ain't scared, you best beware, you best beware.
So here we have the rear laid out. We have your main body A, main body B, and the accent piece. This piece is color changeable when you order. Those are the 3 parts of your Fender extension. Now the hardware you're going to get 10 dress washers. You're going to get 8 countersunk number 14 screws, 3 large inserts, 3 1-inch number 14 screws, 2 countersunk M6 bolts, 2 small washers, and 2 lock nuts. And the tools will be the same as the front. Alright, so first we're going to go ahead and get started with the lower main B section right here. So we'll take it, we're going to grab our Sharpie, we'll take the main B section, we will bend it just a bit, and we'll take it, hold it up to our fender here. We're going to align it with the top edge right here along the crack. We'll just go ahead, mark our hole centers. Put that back on the cart, grab our main A body, and we'll take it, we'll bend the flange up front, and we'll bend the flange on the rear. And how you can tell the front is it will align with the angle inside the fender. So now we'll just take that, get that into position, align that with the crack again, starting from the front, hold it in place. Now we'll just take it and mark it with our Sharpie. Once you're done marking all the upper holes, we'll just put that back on the cart. We'll take our drill bit with the 1/8 inch drill bit installed, and then we're just going to go ahead and drill all those holes real quick.
It's alright, she's in my side. I got all night, so just sit tight, so just sit tight.
Alright, now with the holes drilled, we're just going to start like we did on the front and work our way from the front to the back. So we'll grab our main B piece and take our screwdriver and 3 of the countersunk number 14 screws. Go ahead, get that lined up, get our screws started just to hold that in place, free up our other hand.
She lets her hair down, she drives me wild, and she looks in my eyes, she's in the groove now.
So it's nice and snug. Now we'll move on to the main A plate, which is this one, and just do the same.
She lets her hair down, she drives me wild, and she looks in my eyes, she's in the groove now, gonna make her mine, I've got to move now, hell yeah.
Alright, now that we have main body A in place, we're going to go ahead and attach the accent using the N6 countersunk screws. And we'll attach that to the rear flange here. We'll do that, align it, and tighten it up, and then we'll proceed with mounting the interior spots. We're going to take our 4mm Allen key and our 10mm socket. And go ahead and secure that, aligning the edge here, making sure that that's flush. And that will set the proper angle on the lower piece. Alright, Alright, with those tightened down, we're going to go ahead and change the bit on the drill to a 5/16. Now we're going to go ahead and hold this up into place. You'll see that there's a crease just along the inside here. That's where the inner line here is going to sit up against. So we'll just position it as so, closing all the gaps here, getting it nice and tight. Hold it in place and we'll just match drill the hole. Now we'll take our 3 inserts, brush off the excess plastic, take our inserts, put those in place, like so. And then we'll take the remaining 1-inch number 14 screws and lock all those inserts in place.
She lets her hair down. She drives me wild. And she looks in my eyes.
Alright, those all tighten in place. Go ahead, double check all your hardware, but that's how you install the rear. And yeah, now you've got ROKBLOKZ on your General XP with some unbeatable mud protection.